I did 2 in one night because I had a little look. Chapter 24 is a really short chapter. Ooh, and I couldn't wait. Eric's in the tower. I needed to read on and find out what happens with poor Eric. Eric! Screamed 9, taking her foot away. Here we go, muttered the gargoyle as she vanished. 9 and Flabbergast ran over to Eric's stone. 9's legs gave way and she crumpled to the wooden floorboards. Eric's eyes blinked. 9 reached up and put her hands on his stone, unsure if she was going to vomit or scream. Her heart felt like it had been ripped out of her chest. Her head buzzed and the world wasn't there any more. She was vaguely aware of gentle hands on her shoulders. Madam, said a shaky voice. Madam! Arms reached around her from behind, pulled her away from the wall and into the middle of the room. A bolt of panic shot through 9, and she kicked, screamed and wrestled until she realised the arms were covered in indigo material. 9 spun round. Get him back, she roared at Flabbergast, wrestling free from his grip. Get him back! The wizard's eyes filled with tears, and his face was grim. Madam, he said quietly in a breaking voice, I cannot. This is all your fault, 9 shouted. You in that stupid house. I wish I'd never met you. Gazillion's eyes were wide and fearful, and he jumped as 9 whirled around to him. And you, she cried, tears blurring her vision. Gazillion the Unstoppable, with your unstoppable flouncing and snarling and snaring. You think you're so much better than everyone. You're not. He may be Flabbergast the Unworthy, but he's worth 10 of you. How dare you? You don't deserve to be anything other than a turnip, and I hope you never find out who did it. But Gazillion just smirked. Ha! You still think this is about turnips? I pity you, mortal. The fear then flicked in her eyes again, and he dropped his voice to a whisper. You know nothing. 9's body tensed. She had this overwhelming urge to punch him in the face. Her right arm shook. She clenched her fist tighter, moved her arm back a little, and Spoon jumped on 9's shoulder. She felt a tiny wooden hand rest on her cheek. Easy, lass. You may need him yet. 9 held back her punch, then dropped her arm. Painful, shallow breaths still bursting out of her. Hatred burned in Gazillion's eyes. We need to fight that key, said Spoon, or we'll be nowt but eyes ourselves. The arms are back. He pointed up at the hourglass, which was running out of sand. 9 blinked her eyes, wiped her nose on the back of her hand. She looked around the room, avoiding Eric's stone. It wasn't real. Couldn't be real. Everything inside her burned. Out of various stones, arms were growing out a little way and reaching out as if to grab something, someone, and then disappearing back into the wall. Moments later, they reached out again, further into the octagonal room. They're getting closer, said Flabbergast. Every time they come out of the wall. Gah! This is impossible, and we still have no clue where the key is. 9 glanced at the doorway, then decisively grabbed Spoon from her shoulder and hurled him at Flabbergast. The wizard caught him and surprised fumbling fingers. Then 9 marched to the doorway and booted it sharply. Arms came out of the wall near the door, grasping widely but not yet reaching her. Up came the door, with Gargoyle tutting and rolling her eyes. Right, if you ain't got the key this time, I ain't going to help you. Where is it? I ain't helping you. Blimey, my head would roll, and that's all I got left. We need help. Tell me where it is. The arms reached closer. Madam, said Flabbergast, his voice edged with fear. No, retorted 9. Madam, get back. No, she said, staring at the gargoyle. Help us. The arms reached closer. I ain't helping no askers, the gargoyle whispered. The tower is all seeking, all knowing. It wants revenge on the askers, and I ain't being on the receiving end again. An arm reached for 9, and she dodged it as it outstretched fingertips, watching as it vanished back into the wall. It bounced again almost immediately, grasping furiously in the air, hurtling towards her. Madam! Arms were nearly reaching everyone in the middle of the room. Gazillion and Flabbergast kept trying to hide behind each other. One more bounce out from the wall and the arms would grab them both. What if it doesn't get revenge? Not this time. I'll free you, Nine blurted out desperately. I'll ask the tower how, with my question. And the gargoyle narrowed her eyes. You're lying. Ah, on your left, lass, bellowed Spoon. An arm darted towards Nine. Her eyes widened as it nearly reached her, but she couldn't take her foot away. You promised on something. Nine's fingers reached for her music box inside her satchel, just as fingers from the arm reached for her waist. She lifted the music box to the gargoyle's face. This hair means the world to me, and I promise on this we will free you. Desperate, defeated, with nothing else she could give. Purple grains trickling down the hourglass, fingertips reaching for her, Nine had no choice but to move her foot. The door began disappearing from the bottom up. Nine dashed to the middle of the room where Flabbergast grasped her elbow and Spoon jumped onto her shoulder. The gargoyle's face creased up anxiously. Look for the closed fist, she whispered as her chin vanished. Won't make no difference though. And the door had nearly disappeared, 'cause in the next room, and the gargoyle then had gone. Aha, Gazillion said, pointing at an arm moving towards them. Instead of searching fingers, it had a balled fist. You get it, mortal. He shoved Nine towards it. Nay, that one's mine, cried Spoon, swishing his sword. For Professor Dish, yaha! Before Nine could move, he charged towards the fist. So Spoon's been very gallant. He's gone to collect the key, hopefully that is held within the fist, and they can get through to the next area. And fingers crossed, they can get Eric back. But sounds like, the gargoyle said, won't matter because in the next room, what do you think is going to happen in the next room? Sounds like it could be even worse than losing Eric. Join me next time.